Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with a video on Wesley So could not find his pen. What is this about? The 2021 US Championships went into extra time. In the open section there was a three-way tie at the top. Grandmasters So, Caruana and Sevian shared first place with 6.5 points out of 11 games. They came back the next day, Tuesday, October 19th, for a rapid playoff with 10 minutes plus a 2-second delay per player for the whole game. I will show you the key part of the first game between Caruana with white and So behind the black pieces, both former champions and favorites in this three-way playoff. This is the position after 31, rook a8 to a5 from black from Wesley So. White, Fabiano Caruana, is better here and finds a beautiful piece sacrifice. First he took on c5, d takes, and now knight c6 check. That's a fork on king and rook, so you have to take the knight. B takes, attacking the bishop, and black is forced to return the piece straight away. Because if you go to e8 with the bishop, to save that piece, there is d6 check. And you cannot take that pawn because knight c4 wins the rook on a5. After d6 check, those pawns are too strong. So Wesley So had to return the piece straight away. He took on c6. D takes, king d8 and knight d5. The best move here would have been rook b1, and then white has a very strong position. Let's look at one variation, king c7, knight d5 check. Yes, black can take that pawn, but the rook comes to b6 with check. And black is in big trouble. Let's look at one variation that the engine gives. King d7 to get out of the check, that's the only legal move. Rook b7 check, king e6 if you want to keep the f7 pawn protected. Knight takes, king takes, and bishop c4 attacking the f7 pawn one more time. The only way to defend it is knight h8, and white has great winning chances here. Just look at the difference in the activity of the pieces. This is not a way to play for black. So after king d8 on move 35, rook b1 was the best move. But in a rapid game there's not much time to think, and knight d5 was Caruana's choice. Both players were already getting low on time here. That knight was taken, e takes, those pawns look very strong, but Wesley So is able to keep them under control. Knight e7, e4, knight c8, rook b1, and the knight went to d6, a nice blockading square. Black has survived the onslaught and is back in the game now. As Wesley So pointed out after the game, his c-pawn is now a trump card for black. King f2, there goes that c-pawn. The bishop drops back, and f5. Unfortunately for Caruana, the white center is blocked and even somewhat fragile now. King e3, king c7, the rook went to b4, and black took the pawn. Recapture and c3. It's too difficult for white to deal with the c-pawn without losing all of his central pawns. Caruana played bishop c2 with 1 second on the clock. After rook takes d5, he lost on time. He played rook takes a4, but his flag had fallen. The position was already winning for black. Let's look at one variation to show that point. Rook d2 is possible here, attacking the bishop, and if the bishop goes to e4, keep the g-pawn protected. There is knight takes e4, rook takes e4, and then a very nice move, rook d4. Would Wesley So have found that one? It's not the only move that wins, but it is the strongest move in the position. You cannot swap the rooks, because then there is e takes d4 check, king d3, and king takes c6 with a winning king and pawn endgame for white. And if you don't swap the rooks but take on e5, then there is rook c4, and that c-pawn is unstoppable. This victory with black was a huge win for Wesley So. He could now sit back and watch the game between Sevian and Fabiano Caruana, which was a must-win for Caruana. After many adventures, Caruana did win that game. In the last game, it was Sevian who was in a must-win situation with the black pieces against Wesley So, who only needed a draw. Sevian was never close to getting any winning chances. Wesley So won the game quite easily in his smooth, polished style and became US champion for the 3rd time in his career. And the only thing I want to show you from that last game is Wesley So sitting at the board before the game. Of course, he was nervous, he was fidgeting with his pieces, his mask, his glasses, but the funny thing was that he reached a few times, in fact 3 times, for the inside pocket of his jacket. A knee-jerk reaction from a chess player reaching for his pen at the start of the game. The pen, the only tool a chess player needs to apply his trades. But as this was a rapid playoff, there was no pen in his jacket, as the moves did not need to be recorded. Let's have a look for a bit of amusement at 2 minutes of Wesley So getting ready for the game that would bring him the US Championship for 2021. I hope you like this video and the coverage of the 2021 US Championships that I did on Chess to Impress. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel, and please leave a comment. I will read them all and I will reply to them all. If you like the video, it would be great if you could share it on social media by clicking the share button on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter and on Facebook. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.